What's up, everybody? I'm JC,
I'm Brittany.
and you're listening to
Just Breathing Home Edition.
That was good enough. That was good enough. That's just bringing people in, making them privy to the way that we're coming into this podcast tonight. I'm not feeling 100%. I got a sore throat, and I just finished my halls and drank an Airborne and trying to kick a whatever it is, a cold or I don't know. I don't usually get sick. So it's a very strange thing. I woke up today and in the mornings you have a scratchy throat.
Yeah.
That's normal for me.
Right.
I sleep with my mouth open. I can't breathe through my nose properly.
Mm-hmm.
I wake up with a scratchy throat. But then it was like all day I've had it. And I'm like, okay, this is something. So I went to the pharmacy, just stocked up on Airborne, stocked up on Halls, got some essential oils.
Oh, yeah.
Put that in the diffuser. I don't know what they do, but people say they help with stuff, so I got that. Whoa.
Helps your mind feel like you're doing something.
Helps your mind. Hopefully helps you sleep. That's really what that kills colds for me. If I can get good sleep, I'm fine. Usually if I have a couple nights of not good sleep, I'm done for.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll kick this quick. But that's where my mind is at right now. I'm making the time to do this podcast. My mind is like 1,000 miles elsewhere. So if for some reason during this conversation I seem like I'm not even here, that's why. That is why. But we still want to do this every week.
Mm-hmm.
So we're here, and that's an important thing to do in your life. Make sure you show up if you want to do something with your life. So we're showing up and we're doing this. And we were talking before we started kind of what we want to talk about tonight. And you were mentioning relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And we just got done 3 episodes of talking about marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are married and that interests you, there's I think it's like 5, 6, and 7 of Just Breathing Home Edition are all about marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go look those up. They're all over. But kind of coming out of that, a broader conversation would be how do you have healthy relationships?
Mm-hmm.
And is that kind of along the lines of what you were thinking, like healthy relationships, or were you thinking of just how to?
I mean, I think talking about healthy relationships is good, but actually where my mind is I just think it's so interesting how I think relationships in general are so important and we don't make the time for them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I was thinking. Like,
okay.
No,
that's true.
Right now we, at least at my church, I'm in I guess you would call it like a small group sort of thing. And I've just been kind of surprised at how like it is so nice to get together with people and like it's this process of getting to know people and it takes work and it takes time and it takes effort.
Yeah.
But it's worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And like we just don't make time to like keep up even with good friends. Like I have good friends that I'm actually, I guess I shouldn't say friends. I have like maybe 1 or 2 that like I make more of an effort to like stay in contact with, but it's still not really as much as it should be. And I'm just like, why is that? Like, why do I feel like there's so many other things that are more important when like not necessarily?
I mean, there are a lot of things that are more important than friends.
No, that's true. No, that's true. That's true.
That's a terrible thing to say, but like, if we're going to be 100
right,
kids, your marriage.
Yes.
You know, a lot of things
There
come
are-
before
there are.
friends. And a lot of times that's the things that I think that's like the easy answer. Like those are the two main things I see in my life that comes before making time
Right.
with my friends.
Right.
But what you're saying with getting together with the small group, like you realize in those moments, oh yeah, this is really good for me.
Right. Right.
Like, oh wow, this is really good for my life. Like, and when marriage and kids should come before friends,
Mhm.
but sometimes it could just they come before, and then any time that you have in between, you're just like resting from, you know, doing the marriage and kids thing.
Right. Right.
You know, so I think it's not always a conscious thing. You're just like, okay, you know, I'm constantly busy and doing so much, you know, maybe it's just this night when you just need to chill
Right.
or whatever. But when you do plan those
Mhm.
times with friends, you realize, oh, I need that too in my
Right,
life.
right.
Oh, that's so important to have these relationships
Mhm.
outside of just the kind of routine
Right.
that I'm in on a constant basis. Because those differences in personalities, those differences in opinions, those
Mhm.
differences in just so many things that your different friends can bring to the table really are able to pull a lot of things out of you that you just don't normally engage
Right.
with,
Right.
you know, on a weekly basis.
Mm-hmm.
And that's usually how it is, I know, for us.
Mm-hmm.
Usually it could be like a week where we just don't really get together with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the small group you're doing consistently now,
Right.
but like with close friends, you know, it could be a while, and then
Yeah. A long
and then
while.
and then we'll get together. We're like, this is amazing.
yeah.
You know, and then a week goes by and we haven't really made the effort
Yeah.
to get together again. And then, yeah, you do kind of just sit back and scratch your head and be like,
Yeah.
why don't I do that?
It's funny
Yeah.
because if you make the time for it, like, and once it's made, then everything still works out. Like you're still able to get usually everything done that you needed to get done. You
Yeah.
know, because that's something that sometimes is in my mind. I'm like, I'm either, like you said, I'm so tired, so I just want to rest, or there's a lot of things to do
Right.
in the in between times.
Yeah, you just want to.
You want to get those things done,
Yeah.
but if you make the time to like get together with people that are important to you, you usually find the time to like get those other things done that you need to get done.
And sometimes, especially for us, we love having friends over to our house
Mhm.
because that gives us the motivation to
Oh,
clean our
yeah,
house.
thoroughly clean our
Yeah.
house. Yeah.
There's like two main reasons that we clean well in this room that you're in right now, the dining room. That's either to do the podcast and make it look presentable enough.
but just this section.
Yeah, just this section. You don't want to see over here. You don't want to see behind me. Or when we have company.
Yeah.
And then we like just make the house, you know, real spick and spam and just
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. And we're like, it's always like this. Always.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, lying to your friends, not good for the relationship.
We don't actually say that.
Yeah, we don't actually say that. But yeah, it is true. It is true that so many really trivial things get in the way of you making
Mhm.
the effort.
I think the other thing that I think is important about relationships, I'm not just talking about friends now, but just relationships in general. And I found this from my own life, is that all the things that we do are for really two reasons, at least for me as a Christian. The first is to glorify God. So it's a
Mhm.
relationship with God. But then the other reason I do things should be for people.
Mm,
So like if I'm discounting relationships as not really being that important and my work is more important, that's I have things mixed up.
Mm.
Now work is important, but we're
Right.
doing it for one, to glorify God, and probably for people, to help people. whatever job that is. It's
Right.
usually to benefit someone, even if it's just working because you need to make money for your family.
Right.
Most of the time it's two ways. You're making money and you're helping someone else. But like as soon as
Or you're making money so you're not a burden on someone else.
right.
That's a more noble reason.
Right.
You know.
You're helping. Yeah. you're not a burden on someone. You're helping take care of your family.
Yeah.
But those are all relationship based.
Mhm.
Maybe not helping people. Maybe you're not in direct contact with them, but you're doing it for them.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That just kind of was on my mind this week, and I was like, yeah, relationships are important, not only for us and for those people, but it also reminds us that like this is why we do most of the things we do in our lives, is to benefit people.
Right.
Yeah, and that's an important reminder. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Well, and there's definitely something to the people that have a lot of friends, but it's kind of like a mile wide and an inch deep type of relationship where, you know, they'll go out to the bar, or they'll go to a party, or they'll go to, you know, a Super Bowl celebration, or they'll get together at these opportune times, have fun, but there's nothing to the relationship deeper than having fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we kind of find ourselves, because of how busy we are and all of the things we're pursuing in our lives, not really having the space for that. And I don't want to like poo-poo that. I think there's a time to have fun and to just kind of go crazy and have a good time with your friends. We just kind of find ourselves like, that's not. I'm trying to think of the right way to say this. It adds no value to my life.
Yeah.
And like, for the little time I have left to spare in my weeks, I want to make sure that the relationships I'm a part of and the things I'm doing in those relationships add value to my life.
Yeah.
Hopefully add value for the other people in the relationship. That's how it's healthy.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure it's adding value to my life. I want to make sure that it's adding value to my kids' lives. If we're getting together with people with kids, I want to make sure that, you know, all of these things are in place, because I just don't have the time for the frivolous.
Right. Like
You know what I
superficial
mean?
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, just more, oh, that was a good time. Yeah, I could have been doing so many other
Right.
so many other things. You know, I could have been investing in my kids.
Yeah.
You know, I could have been doing another podcast or getting something else done.
Right.
You know,
right.
doing some music or whatever it is. Yeah, and that's personality. Some people just live for and thrive and do gain value from just these community events. I like community events. I do. You know, I like going to parties. I like going to watch football games, or, you know, whatever it is. But
I feel like it adds more value though if you know those people really well.
Yeah, like
at least for me, like I want to spend my time with people who like I know well and they know me well.
Well, it adds value, but if, let's say there's like, if I go to some sort of, let's just say a football game. I don't watch a lot of football anymore, but like, let's say there was a football game that I went and some of my good friends were there. I wouldn't give a crap about the football game.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I would want to talk to my friends.
Right.
Because that's way more important to me than a stupid game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I do have that part of me that like I'm way more enlivened after being with people that I care about than I am with like a fun situation.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah. That's me. Not everybody's like that, but I think it's important to make sure that whatever you're pouring yourself into, with whatever relationships you're pouring yourself into, that it adds value to your life and you're honest. Some people aren't honest. Like, they think they need to just keep going back to the bar because, you know, it was fun-ish. You know, sure, there was like all those guys that hit on me, or sure, there was
Mhm.
all those whatever,
Mhm.
you know. Yeah, that was annoying. Did it add any value to
Right.
your life?
Right.
Or did you just like that's what you're supposed to do?
Yeah.
And like some people aren't honest with themselves. From like high school, I was the type of person that like I didn't go to parties. I didn't go I was fairly boring.
I mean, I didn't
And
do
like
that either.
luckily I had a lot of friends that were also fairly boring.
Mhm.
We had a great time together in relationship,
but yeah.
but like we didn't do the whole party thing.
Mhm.
We didn't could have been, you know, some of the people were pretty popular. Like they could have been a part of that scene,
Right.
but like we cared way more about each other and hanging out with each other
Yeah.
and spending time with each other and doing things together that like was a group effort,
Right.
you know, and that was cool. That was cool. And that's kind of carried through to now in my relationships. That's been so important to me that I like really want to be invested in the people that I'm with
That's
and
the
then
whole
do something
point.
fun with. Yeah.
That's the whole point in my mind of getting together with people.
But some people are just good at yeah, no, I think it is. I think it is. But some people are just better than me at new people.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just kind of throwing themselves into like a new relationship.
And
or-
that's
or
a good thing, too.
Potential relationship.
That is a good
I'm not
thing.
good with that. I'm not good with that. Like if I get to know you
Mhm.
in some scenario, then we maybe could consider doing something together.
Right.
But like I'm not going to be all gung ho to do something with you if I
Yeah.
don't really know you.
Yeah.
I'm just
Even
Yeah.
though that is a good trait to have, to be able
is
to
a
get
good
to know
trait.
people.
It
But
is a good trait.
I think it's also a good, I don't know what the right word is, but like, I think it's helpful sometimes to get to know people maybe that you wouldn't otherwise like know, to just bless them. Like if there's someone who's struggling or for whatever reason, but just to like invest time in them, even though maybe you wouldn't otherwise consider to do that, but just to love on them and kind of get to
Yeah.
know them, and maybe they're going through a hard time or
Yep.
what for whatever reason. But I think that's valuable too, even though you might not consider it adding value to your life at
Right.
first. Or I think it would, but you might not consider that.
Mhm.
I think that's good too. I don't know. I just think relationships are really important, and at least in our culture, I don't know, we look at it as
I think it's interesting. I think we're growing probably due to some of the tech stuff that we're into right now through social media or just all the ways in which we're able to communicate through technology. Yeah, the interaction, the human to human interactions are becoming less and less. Like, I mean, I even look at like my parents' day and like, you know, they were always out in their neighborhoods
yeah,
playing with their friends.
yeah,
It was a different time. Like, you know, you can say that a lot of things have changed that just made it not as possible to do that. I understand. But like we have this culture now where like I call it like the garage door culture, where like everybody like pulls into their driveway, into the garage, closes the door behind them, and then gets out of their car.
Yeah.
So they don't even like allow the opportunity for conversation. Let's say if their
Yeah.
neighbor was out mowing the lawn,
yeah,
their neighbor was out shoveling snow or whatever it
Mhm.
is. Like usually you'd pull up and be like, "Hey, Larry, hey,
Yeah.
Bob," you know, and you'd have a little bit
Mhm.
of a conversation. Maybe you'd shoot the breeze, talk to each other about work that day,
yeah.
whatever. We don't do that anymore.
And like, I wonder
know.
why that is. Like, I mean, I know for myself, I mean, we know our neighbors, not really well, but
Yeah.
I think it's just tiring.
We're friendly with our neighbors.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not they're of different ages, they're of different I don't know.
But even still, like when I was younger, now of course I was a kid then, my parents were the ones probably like making the relationships, but
Yeah.
like we knew all of our neighbors.
Yeah.
Like we were over at their houses, they were over at our houses.
Right.
And not because we were in like any sort of like program together. We were just
Right.
neighbors. And so like my parents, we knew our neighbors.
Right.
And yeah, I don't know.
I
It's
mean,
just it's just different. I feel like
Yeah.
it is different today because I feel like we don't make that effort.
But like I said, with my parents' day, like my parents still know their neighbors. So I think
Wow.
it's just ingrained in them that you know your neighbors.
Okay.
I don't think like we were ever. I guess I shouldn't say we were ever taught that because we were taught that
Yeah.
because you saw it in your
Mhm.
parents. My parents know all their neighbors
Yeah.
around their house. Yes, I don't know why. Maybe it is the tech thing. Maybe because we've grown up in this sort of tech world
Right.
that has sort of we've been able to connect
Yeah.
with people more and more in different platforms and different ways
right.
that like we just don't see the need
Yeah.
or forget the need. I guess that's the thing. It's not that we don't see the need. We just forget the need
Mhm.
to connect with people in person.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I it's hard to know the why, but you know, I kind of wanted to talk about how do we make sure that we're doing it?
Mm.
You know, what are the things that we can put in place to make sure that we are connecting with people on a regular basis? What are the I was going to say safeguards. It's not dangerous. I don't know why but like what are the I have all these
parameters.
Yeah, no, I have all these like stupid analogies rolling around in my brain right now. Like what are the bumpers? Like the bowling bumpers. But no, to keep you like in the mindset that this is good for me.
Right.
It's like exercise. Like you have to almost like today I haven't exercised. One, because I don't feel good.
Mhm.
But like if I woke up and decided
Mm.
that I was going to work out today, I would have. But I woke up and I felt like crap. So I was like, I don't think this is going to happen. And it
Mm.
didn't.
Yeah.
So there has to be like something in place that like keeps you remembering like, okay, this is good for me. Exercise, friends, you know, eating right,
Mhm.
whatever it is, this is good for me. I need to keep myself focused
Right.
in
right.
this way. Like I need to make sure that I'm not deviating out of the truth that it's good for my life. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I don't have a I'll just tell you the first thing that comes to my mind because I'm not good at this myself. But I think it'd be helpful if we like when we think of it,
Yeah.
to just plan it.
Yeah.
Because I can think of two different examples. One being like my one good friend. Like I think about her a lot but I'm like, oh well, I'll just get this other stuff done first and then maybe I'll text her or something.
Yeah, that never happens.
And then it just never happens
Yeah.
and never happens and again and again. But I still keep thinking of her.
Yeah. That's
and
so funny.
It's just silly. And then
It's funny too because there's no like issues between us and like you getting together with people or me
Yeah.
getting together with people. Like so that's not a boundary. Like that's not something that like a hurdle we have to overcome in our marriage. Some people do. Some people are like, "Oh, you're always out with your friends."
Right.
We don't really have that.
Yeah.
One, because we don't do it a lot. And two, like we love it for each other. You know, I'm
Yeah.
constantly telling you, get together with your friends. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like they live right here.
Yeah.
It's
it
it's
is-
so convenient. It's so, you know, good for you. You always come back happy. You always come
Right.
back like, oh, it was a great time.
right.
And I'm like, well, do it more.
I think that
Yeah.
this is like a mom thing, I think, but it is very hard for
I think
like
it's a Britney thing.
I don't know. I think it's a
I
mom.
think it's a Britney
Okay.
thing.
Anyway, I think it's a mom thing that it's hard to like do things for yourself that are fun because that just seems like I don't know. It seems like I'm being a burden onto the people that I either have to like let my kids. I don't know.
I see plenty of moms that have no issues with this.
Anyway,
I see plenty of moms that are like, I'm going out and I'm going to have a good time. And that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Do it. You know, a husband should be there to watch the kids some nights so the mom can go out and
Right.
have a good time.
Right.
Get her
Right.
nails done, get a haircut, do whatever you do.
Right.
Whatever it is that you do. And it's not burdensome.
It feels that way for a mom, I think.
It feels that way, but we got those boundaries
right.
that I'm talking about because you're out here outside the boundaries in something you know that it's good for your life.
Yeah.
You know that it's helpful to be with
That's true.
friends,
That's
and
true.
you're out here saying, well, I think it might be, even though I haven't discussed this with anybody else, I think it might be burdensome on somebody in the universe that might have to really take the brunt of my having fun and my having value added to my life. I really think that's it. But if you just stayed in the boundaries of like, no, this adds value to my life, and I've done it before and no one's gotten hurt, you know?
That's true.
I think like that's what I'm talking about. Like coming into each day, each week, you know, with the knowledge of, hey, in order to, maybe this is it. Maybe I compared it to exercise. Maybe that's the path that we need to take, that this adds value,
Right.
health value to your life. You get
Yeah.
together with friends, you laugh.
Yeah.
Laughing's
Yeah.
healthy. You get together with friends, you get a sense of community, which helps you get out of any type of lonely feelings that you have. I mean, there are so many health benefits to being with friends.
Yeah.
You know, that's the most depressing part about this whole pandemic, about the whole COVID thing, all the lockdowns, all the closures, you know, everything like that. It's just the fact that everybody is so darn lonely
Yeah.
during this time.
Especially if you live alone.
And they're out here. They're outside of the boundaries right now in their thinking because they've been told that they have to be.
Right.
And it's like, I'm sorry that there's this sickness in the world. I'm sorry that it affects some groups of people.
Right.
If you're not one of those groups of people, you need to live in the truth.
Yeah.
You need to live within these boundaries that you need to get out there
Yeah.
and be with people, or you're going to hurt yourself.
Yeah.
You're going to be unhealthy, and that's going to lead to things that, sorry to get real depressing on this podcast, is just ravaging our country right now. Ravaging the world. I mean, the amount of suicides in our world right now is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. I don't care what your thoughts are on this virus. I actually don't give a crap what your thoughts are on this virus. You need to care about the people that are taking their own lives because they don't feel like they have anything or anyone to live for.
That's awful.
That got dark quick. Sorry. Sorry. But it's important to make sure that, you know, you are living in health and making sure that you're looking around while you're trying to live a healthy life that's filled with friends. You're saying, who are the people on the outside living on these boundaries that won't, you know, come out to my house or won't come get a cup of coffee or won't do whatever because they're afraid or because whatever's going on. Man, invest in those people and keep reaching out to them. Because maybe just knowing that you're there, even if it's over text or a call or Zoom or, you know, FaceTime, whatever it has to be, if you could reach out to as many of those people as possible and just let them know they're not alone, it's a step, man. It's a step.
I think that's really important and important.
It's very important. We're like in Bugs Bunny now.
That's really important to point out. Mostly just like, yes, that some people feel so secluded. Yeah, it makes a big difference. Like even just, you know, thinking of how like I've gotten to know people who I don't think have gotten together with a lot of people all the time. And like I can tell that it's beneficial for them. Like,
Yeah.
and I mean, that's a joy to me too, to know that like this is helpful.
Yeah.
This is helpful for
You're
everyone.
not a boring person.
Well, I mean,
you're okay to be with. Yeah,
that's
it's
debatable.
always great
but
when you leave someone's house and they're like, "This was really great," and I'm like, "Oh, good." I was worried.
oh goodness, I don't know. That's
We don't do this
debatable.
very often.
They can get over my awkwardness. But yeah, I think it's so helpful for people that don't get together with anyone very often or don't have relationships with people. I think those of us who have good relationships, we just assume that everyone does. And that's not the case.
No.
So
No.
like I feel so blessed to have you because I have a good relationship with you. I have my kids. Like my day never feels lonely ever.
Yeah.
because or I don't have time to think about it, even if I had those thoughts.
Right.
But a lot of people don't have that.
But like we said, we live a busy life. We're constantly doing things with all the things we're a part of. So we're constantly tapped into a lot of different areas and with a lot of different people.
Right.
So that helps. That definitely helps. But for people that aren't plugged into a church or plugged into, I don't know. What do people do outside of church? Plugged into a bar.
Watching sports together.
That's the thing. There's
I
like
don't know.
not a lot of community things right now.
I guess sports
Like
are happening now again. Some sports.
Not really. Like it's like.
No, I'm talking like school sports. If you like get together with that, I don't know.
Not really though. Some of the schools in our area are still closed.
Oh, I thought they were still doing sports though.
Oh, they probably are. I don't know.
Does that make sense? Probably not. But
nope. No. Anyways, I think it's important to make the time for your relationships.
Mhm.
If it's friends, if it's family, if it's, coworkers that you want to get together with, just make the time to be with people. It's so important. It's so important to your physical, mental, and emotional health.
Mhm.
It really is. So make the time for it. Definitely. Do you have any other thoughts? Or should we wrap it up?
You can wrap it up.
All right. We're going to wrap it up here. Thanks everybody for listening, for managing to get through this podcast. I wasn't too bad.
No.
I wasn't too bad. I was worried about myself. I thought I was not going to be here, but it was the value of the conversation that just really it pulled me in and it kept me here. I hope it did the same for you. If you made it this far in the podcast, make sure if you're watching on YouTube that you hit that like button, you hit the subscribe button, you hit the notification bell. That way you always know when we put a new home edition up or Just Breathing with Laud and Lungs. And those listening, you know who you are. Make sure that you subscribe to this podcast. Make sure that you leave a review if you can. Really helps us out. That way more people can find this podcast. And we'll see you on the next episode, guys. Love you all. And hope you have a great rest of your week. Bye.
Cause all you gotta smash like, subscribe, click the links down below so I make a time. Comment, say hi, hit the bell so I know I'll see you next time. Next time. So I know I'll see you next time.